Hello and welcome back to round 2 with Bant Heroic. We're going to be on the draw here again, and our hand is pretty good. Our opponent also mulliganed. We obviously have about one more land than we'd like. Most Heroic draws you only want to draw about 3 lands, but 4 is usually okay. If we are playing against a matchup where we can go turn 1 Lagana into turn 2 Blue Ordeal without fear of removal spell, then this draw is significantly better. And it looks like we may be able to do that. Alright, well, we drew a Seeker, which is also pretty good. I may want to wait until turn 4 to cast that, just so we get to play Seeker and be able to protect it with Valor Stance. Alright, well, it looks like we're playing against Atarka Goblins with green in it. And we're going to prevent some of this damage here. I may just play Ordeal and pass. That way, if he wants to attack with the Frenzy Goblin, he has to spend the red mana. We may also just assume he's not playing a ton. Ooh, actually, we can go... We may just play Seeker here, now that I'm thinking about it. If he's playing the green with the Tarkus command, it's unlikely he's playing too many creatures. Alright, we're going to get a blue here. If our Seeker survives, that would be insanely good for us. I assume since he's playing Frenzy Goblin, it's much less likely he has something like Searing Blood in his deck. So now if he wants to attack through both our guys, he has to pay the red and kill a guy. Otherwise you get to prevent just a lot of damage. If we get to untap here with Seeker and Lagana, we're going to be in phenomenal shape. If he kills one or the other, much less so. Hopefully if he kills something, he just like stoke the flames to Lagana. And then we get to at least gain some life with the Seeker. But the thing about the Atarka deck is that gaining a little bit of life here and there is not always going to get the job done. Having a bunch of token generators and Atarka's command is a very easy way to beat this deck. We're not really equipped to handle the tokens anymore. I'm actually very happy right now with the current mono-red matchup, but Atarka's command with a bunch of goblins is significantly harder most of the time. Now, he may just spend his turn killing Seeker with a Stoke the Flames. Or I guess if he has Lightning Strike, he'll probably just use that, but he's tanking pretty hard right here, so my bet is that he probably has maybe like a Goblin Producer and maybe a Stoke the Flames, and he's just trying to think through this turn. Let's see what he targets. If he targets Seeker, then that's great for us. He's in a lot of trouble if that's the case. Alright. We're actually going to block the Frenzy Goblin to play around Wild Slash, I guess. I guess we could have blocked the Swiss Spear to induce a Wild Slash on the Lagana as opposed to the Seeker itself. Alright, well, I guess we can't really block anymore, but that's not too big of a deal. Alright, we're just going to play the tap land here. We're going to gain some life, since we can't really block. Hopefully next turn we draw Dramoka's command. That would be pretty sweet. But we're looking to just race him here, I guess, since he has the 2 Frenzy Goblins, and doesn't look like he had a removal spell, or else he probably would have cast it last turn. So if he doesn't have one, hopefully he doesn't draw one. Yep, we're going to be crunching through this. It's possible I should have held back a guy, just in case he had Hordeling Outburst, but alright, well, let's just try to gain a ton of life. We're going to put the other... Oh, I tapped the wrong land. If I draw Dromoka's command now, it's not going to be nearly as good, but we're going to attack with both, I guess, since again we still can't really block because of Frenzy Goblin. What's kind of weird about Frenzy Goblin is that they don't have to pay the red mana until the ability resolves, so if you use something like sorry, I'm blanking here. If you use something like God's Willing to give your guy protection from red, they don't actually have to pay the mana for the Frenzy Goblin ability. Alright, so yeah, just keep on attacking. Try to get out of range of a Tarkus command. Right now it's 3 from it, and then 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. So it is a lot. We may just go ahead and Defiant Strike to deal a little bit extra damage, since we do have the Valor stances to continuously turn on prowess from our Seeker. Now he is at 5, so since the Tarkus command this turn isn't lethal, he may hold back at least one blocker, maybe 2, and every time he loses a guy it makes his stuff worse. But alright, well, we're going to take a chunk here. What looks like 7 down to 13. We get to gain another 5 if we use Valor stance. Okay, well, looks like he has stoked the flames. I don't know why he's not attacking with his Frenzy Goblins. Could have just tapped his fresh tokens. Alright. God's Willing off the top? No. Alright, well, at least the stoke didn't target us. There's a good chance we just die here, though. Wish we had Dromoka's command to just max punish him. I guess we have 2 blockers, so maybe we don't die. So if we block... well, I guess if he plays a land, he can make both our guys not be able to block. And then he has a good number of creatures. Yeah, so he can make both our guys not be able to block. Then he has to hold back a bunch of creatures to chump. He might just not have a Tarkus command. If that's the case, then he's still in a lot of trouble, but we're basically dead to it in a turn or 2 if we don't draw anything. And if he's looking to just triple chump block next turn, we're slowly crunching his guys. We can gain a lot of life with Seeker Valor stance. Alright, cool. Well, that'll just end the game right there, since he can't stoke us and our guy's gigantic. That's what we needed. You could have made a good argument for playing the second ordeal of Thassa onto the Lagana just to make sure we draw cards immediately, but that entices him to chump block, which saves him a huge chunk of damage. We gain less life off the Seeker, especially over the course of the next few turns, because we get to put another counter on each turn, and we can just keep burning Valor stances. So in this matchup, I think Seeker is important, or sorry, Mentor is important because it allows us to get a lot of traction against his tokens. So we're probably going to bring that in. The White Ordeals are okay. They get shut off pretty easily by a Tarkus command, though. But for the most part, I just want to have Aqueous Form to make sure we can punch through the last few bits, kind of like extra God's Willings. But you know, we don't want to flood out on them too hard. Excuse me. Valor stances are trash. Those can just leave immediately. And it's possible I just want to cut all the treasure cruises, since it's unlikely he has a ton of removal, but if he has any, then that's pretty bad for us. Trimming the Battle Wise, because we might not have blue early, and if that's the case, we don't want to get stuck with that in our hand. Maybe we just want like 2 aqueous forms to act as additional God's Willings. Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna have 2 Mentors in the deck since I kind of want to cut all the Treasure Cruises. They don't seem phenomenal. Ordeals, I think, is better than Treasure Cruise in the matchup since this is like an aggressive card drawer that can pump our guy to make sure that we can actually kill our opponent. Well, I did bring in the island. Maybe I can actually cut a Mana Confluence and just leave in... I'll leave in 1 Treasure Cruise. It's not terrible to draw 1, but drawing 2 is really bad. And let's fix the card window. Sorry, I got cat hair on my nose and I'm itching. This matchup is a lot more interesting to me than the traditional, or I guess now it's more of a traditional mono-red deck with Abbot of Carolkeep. You know, he has so many more chump blockers that it just means that it's harder for me to punch through the last points of damage. Whereas in the Abbot of Carolkeep deck, they have a lot more removal, so the games can end a lot more quickly and be more lopsided. Dromoka's Command is a lot worse against this version than it is against the, you know, Eidolon of the Great Revel, plus a bunch of creatures that don't produce tokens or whatever. The Dromoka's Command are just so insanely good against the current mono red deck, and they're significantly worse against the Atarka red deck for sure. And here's where I wish I could pause. Alright, well I can't pause, so I guess we'll just go talk about the deck a little more. Wait on him. So, yeah, so far so good. The Mentors have been pretty great. I do like having access to the 3rd and all 4 Treasure Cruises against the Abzan decks, but mostly the Abzan more mid-rangey or control versions. I do like to bring them in against basically any deck with a lot of removal, though. Alright, this hand is pretty bad. 5 lands is not where you want to be against the red deck. He also mulliganed a 6, though, so that's good. Well, 5 land Dromoka's Command isn't really going to do it either, so it looks like we're going to 5. Maybe he'll go to 5 too, and we'll be on even playing field. Nope, he stayed at 6. Alright, well, maybe this is about as good as it gets for 5. We obviously would love to peel a Plains or any sort of white producing land. That way our blue spells in hand actually end up doing something. I really hate cracking Flooded Strands for Plains whenever I have blue spells in hand and no access to other blue sources. Now if we draw, like, Mana Confluence would actually be the best draw here now. That way it'll allow us to play Favorite Hoplite and hold up Defiant Strike while also giving us access to blue mana. If he attacks with Swift Spear, I'm probably going to block. Even if he has a Wild Slash, I mean, it's bad for us, but every point of damage can matter. And that also will likely prevent him from playing something like Dragon Fodder. Or I guess now it would prevent him from playing another 1-drop creature. Alright, White Source. Alright. Can I call him or can I call him? Now the problem here lies when our opponent starts to just play stuff like Hordeling Outburst and just sits. Like if he plays Hordeling Outburst and then attacks with both guys, I'm going to obliterate him because I get to Defiant Strike, prevent damage from Favorite Hoplite, eat his Foundry Street or his Swift Spear. Like I get to choose, and that's insanely good. I suppose my opponent is double queuing. That's why he's taking so long. Or he's just thinking. Some people think too much. So Hordeling Outburst attack is pretty good for me here. If he attacks with both, I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. Let's wait and see if it happens before we decide. Alright, no attacks. That's interesting. It's pretty smart too. I'm gonna go ahead and cycle this and pump one of my guys. I think I want to pump favorite hoplite. This might be a mistake. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna draw cards here and just try to soak up as much damage as I can with Lagana. We can't afford to just sit on our heels and die to a Tarkus command or even double Tarkus command. And since we have Aqua's form, we can maybe just kill him in a turn or two. That was a really good 2 cards to draw. That was a pretty good 3rd card to draw. Or 3rd card to see on top. If he has another Hordeling Outburst into a Tarkus command, there's not a lot we can do anyway, and holding back favorite hoplite's not going to help. But at the very least, with Seeker of the Way and God's Willing, we're going to be able to put up a bit of a fight, especially if we can get the Mentor in play early enough. Alright, if all he has is Dragon Fodder and another land, I think we're okay. We can just block the Foundry Street. If he has a Tarkus command, he's going to deal us a cool million, but we actually survive it this turn. And by blocking the 3-1, we actually can induce the Tarkus command to kill our guy. That's going to deal us 3 down to 13, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And put us to 4. We can play Seeker, have 2 blockers, and a God's Willing to gain some life. It's a lot of damage. We may lose anyway, but if we had not put the Ordeal on the favorite hoplite, then we would kind of just be sitting on our heels right now and very likely dying anyway. 3. Okay, I miscounted by 1. I must have forgotten the prowess. So let's see, if we block, go to 2, gain 3 up to 5. So I think we're actually just dead anyway, because I miscounted by 1. I'm assuming he's going to attack. If the Mana Confluence were just a plains, then I think we would have survived. Or even a fetch land, because it's dealt us 2 points now. But it did let us play the Ordeal. Whatever. I'm just going to concede to save time. The only thing that would keep us alive would be Defiant Strike here from him. Or not from him, but that's, I assume he's going to attack with everybody. If he doesn't, that's incredibly silly. Because we go down to 2, then we gain 3 up to 5, and probably dead to like every burn spell in his deck anyway. Yeah, like I said, this version's a lot harder. And that's certainly going to do us some more damage. See what we would have drawn. Kind of want to know. Hero, bottom. Alright. Well, let's go to the sideboard. See if there's anything different we can manage. I don't mind negating this matchup, actually. It's pretty good against Tarkus command, but that's it. We did mulligan to 5 that game, so I'm not super unhappy with what ended up transpiring. Maybe we're in the play, so we just want all of our mentors. The Treasure Cruise again. We have like 0 time to play it. I do still like the Aqueous forms. Alright, we'll just go like this. Alright, let me fix the card window. One moment. Alright. This hand's definitely a keeper. Dromoka's command will hopefully be pretty good, and his deck is probably a little more removal light than most red decks in the format. So hopefully we can just play Mentor on 3 and it doesn't die. And then we need to go Hero number 2 and Dromoka's Command on 4 if we draw an untapped land. Probably not going to crack Flutter's Drain just in case I draw Windswept Heath as my draw next turn. So I'd much rather crack the Windswept Heath for white and the Flutter's Drain for blue. But at this juncture I might just crack them both for white. Have to wait and see though. Our games have been a combined 7 turns each, and he's spent about 12 minutes of his clock. I will say it's pretty difficult to just sit here and talk by myself for 10 minutes straight or whatever. Alright. Yeah, but again, gonna wait to crack the Flutter Strand to see if I draw a Plains or something, because I may want to get an island with it so that I take less damage down the line. But if I don't, I'm just gonna crack it for Plains, play Force next turn, play Hero off of green-white. Okay, no 1-drop. It's interesting. In response, shock you. Alright, I feel like this is going to be a game where he just has a ton of dragon fodders and whatnot. I kind of hope that I draw God's Willing, and if that's the case, I may just wait a turn on playing Mentor. I really don't want him to go like Dragon Fodder into Hordeling Outburst, Stoke the Flames, kill your Mentor. That would be pretty bad. But next turn I can play Ordeal Dromoka's Command. And that would be pretty good. Especially if he just plays like a random 2-drop creature here. Ooh, Searing Blood. That's pretty bad. Yeah, well he can't Stoke me, so I'm just going to hope he doesn't have another removal spell. Because we get to do some dirty stuff next turn to him with Mentor plus Command and God's Willing. If we get to turn that corner, then the game is likely over. Like if he just casts Hordeling Outburst here, it's going to be pretty hard for us to lose. Dragon Fodder Wild Slash is pretty good though. Alright. He must have a forest in hand. He's played 3 Foothills and cracked them all for red. There's no way he like cited out his Tarkus commands. Yeah. Well, let's hope he doesn't have yet another removal spell. Just like, oh, this deck doesn't have that much removal in it, said Todd, the idiot. We're going to put this on bottom since we can Ordeal and Command already anyway. And he can't attack, which is nice. We really need to find more creatures. Seeker would be phenomenal. We're not even that afraid of stuff at the moment. Like he only has 2 guys in play. If he targets commands, we can even prevent the damage and fight a guy. So. Oh wow. So I'm going to make me sacrifice an enchantment so I don't take 2 from the Revelry and fight his creature. Which is a heads up play because the Dromoka's Command says when it is sacrificed. And so we save 2 from that. And we get to fight a guy and get a counter. And we don't take 2 from the thing. I suppose we could have not attacked, but he's only got 2 cards in hand. He's only got 1 creature in play. And now we have Aqueous Form and another Dromoka's Command. He's only got 1 card in hand now with 2 guys in play. If it's just Stoke down to 9, hit me down to 6. Well, Hordeling Outburst is pretty good. Well, now we have quite a few options, don't we? Alright, we're going to play Seeker pre-combat. We're going to attack with Hero, and we're going to use Seeker to fight his Swift Spear, I think. Kind of hoping he chump blocks. Well, I guess I'm hoping he doesn't chump block. I guess I have to assume he will. But the Dramoka's command is going to put us down to 9, and then I'm thinking about putting a counter on Seeker as opposed to the hero. That way we gain an extra life. Our guy doesn't die to Searing Blood or Magma Spray or Wild Slash. I wasn't missing lethal there, right? Yeah, I couldn't play Ordeal and Aqueous Form, so he might just take it. If he does, whatever. If he takes it, he's just dead next turn. I think the safer play, that was actually, let's see. No, that was right. Because the Tarkus command killed us even with the prevent 3 damage. So we went to 6. So we're just going to sit on our Seeker. If he attacks with everybody, we're going to block Swift Spear. Maybe we just block a token. Alright, well that's not going to do it. So he's just dead to Aqueous Form here. Alright, so let's start by putting a +1/+1 counter on this and fighting that. So it's got 2 damage on it. Now we get to block and negate his entire attack plus a life. And play Mentor, play Aqueous Form, overkill, overkill. Yeah, I don't know why I'm wasting time. I should have just played Aqueous Form on hero. I could make the game go longer. Put Ordeal onto hero and then attack. I like making games last longer. I'm not a jerk, I promise. I mean, I probably should have done it just so he clicked the concede button, because he's been playing so slow. I mean, he's got no cards in hand. It's not like he can respond. So what I get? Alright, well, whatever. Our opponent is dead. Okay, fine. He clicked the button. So, Aqueous Form on hero. Alright, cool. Yeah, I should have done that first. I don't know why. I'm just acting stupid. Anyway, guys, that was round 2 with Bant Heroic. Yeah, the cool little interaction there with Dramoka's command doesn't come up often. But it actually comes up a lot when your opponents do that for the first time on accident. And, you know, being able to counter a Destructive Revelry, draw 2 cards, and still fight a guy was just another reason why Dramoka's command is really good. Anyway, guys, that's round 2. We'll be right back for round 3.